Ruslan. King's Dream Entertainment. Ruslan. King's Dream Entertainment. Ruslan. Ruslan.
Holy smokes, you are here early. Well, you're not really early, you're just on time, which I appreciate. But by the way, if you're watching the replay of this, make sure you look in the pinned comment below to know when exactly the video starts. This whole live intro countdown clock usually gets trimmed in. But while I have you here, I wanted to let you know how you can partner with what we're doing here on the channel. The very first thing you could do is give this video a like for the YouTube algorithm. Just like it preemptively. When you like it, you tell YouTube that you like this video. YouTube shoots it to the moon. People start getting the notification. It starts going up on people's feeds. The second thing you could do is in the chat, let us know where you're watching this from. That helps a ton with the engagement. And the third thing is obviously hit that subscribe button, that bell notification, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to tell you about something that we have coming up this month in August with our new Love What You Do collection drop with music and apparel. I am also doing a virtual event going over how we can shift our mentality and learn to love what we do so that ultimately, God willing, we can start to do what we love. That is also in the description of this video, so you can grab your spots. Oh, and by the way, that's completely free. So now that you've given this video a like, now that you've subscribed, now you've done all that kind of good stuff. So now what you're gonna see is our countdown clock, and then we're gonna jump right into the video. Thank you so much.
Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Yeah, conversations front of the fireplace. All of my mistakes out of I erase. Wanna operate at a higher pace. Birth pains causing the body to dilate. On a first name basis with the worst pain facing. Moments in isolation. See, I was hoping I would do this to get more family time. A busy mind and worried heart, is this not where I reside? I subscribed that all that traveling wasn't doing well for my soul. Glad I never made it when my name went through the rumor mill. I suppose that the Lord knows I'd have failed. Instead I'm doing well at home, out my shell. Good book off the shelf, more dubs off the L's. I told Ray they ain't just gon' know us, they gon' know us well. Happy to have failed my way to success. With my family by my side, Lord knows what's next. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. But I know it's off, never noticed y'all. Hit a protocol, need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, I need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, we need an overhaul. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. Conversations front of the fireplace. All that drama and hysteria should die down. If there's nothing nice to say, then baby, pipe down. Life is too short to try and pay the price now. I was walking on water and then I wiped out. So this is for the restoration of every family member that's estranged. I know you're facing the same asymptomatic patient, different virus. Hard to tell somebody they sick when they only deny it. And you confide in something personal, but they think you lying. With friends like these who need enemies, I wish I was lying. Nevertheless, I wanna be more and do less trying until the Lord comes back and takes his people back to Zion. Yeah. Joshua the king came down and bore it all. I know a few things, never claimed to know it all. But I know it's off, never noticed y'all. Hit a protocol, need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, I need an overhaul. Need an overhaul, we need an overhaul. Joshua
King's Dream Entertainment. Ruslan.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Unscripted call in live stream. We do this every single Sunday, usually. Sometimes we mix it up. I've been trying to go earlier and earlier so that our international people can have a chance to call in. So if you're here live, do me a favor, click out of the chat, give this video a quick thumbs up. Let me know where you're watching this from. That helps a ton. And if you want to call in and ask me a question face to face and partner with what we're doing here via Patreon, I think it's $5 a month is the cheapest tier, which we may increase the price on that, but you can get locked in at that rate if you want to. You can hit the link that's pinned up, call in, talk to me face to face. There's this whole like pan-social phenomenon where people watch people. I like to break up some of that by just meeting some of you guys face to face. And oddly enough, the folks that I've met on this Zoom call, a handful of them have actually become friends with in real life, like my buddy Connor, who I play basketball with every Wednesday and Friday now, and other friends that I'm looking forward to seeing at Flavorfest and that sort of thing. So shout out to Flavorfest, by the way. I will be live at Flavorfest, Saturday night artist lineup, myself, KB, Zanti, Stephen Malcolm. This is in Tampa, Florida, OKJ52, Tampa, Florida, October 7th through 10th. I'm performing, what is that, the 9th? Okay, and then I'm also doing a workshop, and we're doing a Patreon exclusive gathering there. So if you guys want to call in, the Zoom call is open, is ready to go. So you can call in whenever you want to. I'm gonna try to hop in to some of your guys' questions here. And what time is it around your way? It's 1:46. I have a memorial service I'm going to at 3:30, so I'm hoping to be done by like 3-ish. And yeah. So excited. You're gonna respond to. You know what? I'll make that real quick. EP Films. I don't even know what he disagreed with me about. That I couldn't watch the whole video. He just seemed all over the place. Like I tried to skim through it, and it was like 50 minutes in. I think he called me like a red pill manosphere guy, and I was like, you don't really know my content. So I honestly didn't understand what was happening in that video at all. Like, I don't know what he disagreed with us on, right? It just more seemed like he was upset that Christians were speaking on the whole men's rights movement and correcting and critiquing it. That's the kind of gist I got of it, and it's just like, what do we, if he's not a Christian, what are we gonna talk about? Like, what are we even gonna disagree with, talk about? So yeah, no, I don't plan on responding to him. Just honestly, because I'm not gonna watch 2 hours of some guy I've never heard of rant and misunderstand me. I don't do a ton of response videos, to be honest with you guys. So no. But yes, winners giveaway for the 100K challenge is happening on when we crack 100K. That's when it's going up. Tips to not forget God's grace when you messed up. Okay, these are some good questions. Okay, cool. So look, I'm gonna hit some of these here now, and then I will jump into the Zoom call when someone calls in, and we'll rock it that way. Okay, so let's just start with Brandon's. This is a quick, why is this thing? This thing has been so wonky. There we go. Okay, cool. Now it's letting me adjust it. I think because I adjusted the proportions. Okay. So, I wasn't trying to be savage. Is that what you said? Savage? I wasn't trying to be savage. I literally don't know who the guy is, and I tend not to respond to videos. I'm glad he did a video, but I don't quite understand. I don't understand. I just don't. If I don't understand and I can't stomach something for 2 hours, I don't have that kind of time. Time is money. Time is my attention. Time is time with my family. I don't have time to sit through 2 hours of somebody kind of ranting and raving. All right. Brandon, thanks for watching, brother. Ruslan, where is a good place to start when I have sinned and want to be restored back to Christ? I've asked for forgiveness, but the shame and guilt hasn't left. This is also somebody, Abraham asked tips to not forget God's grace when you've messed up. Okay, so it seems like we're kind of embarking on this concept of forgiving yourself, shame, getting back on God's grace. So I'll give you guys a passage. I'm big on passages. You guys know this. I'm big on passages, and I'm going to go straight to a passage because my opinion on this really doesn't matter. I want to take you guys to some scripture. So if you guys can, I really recommend the book of Romans, like the whole book. Like you should really read the whole book because you will see a lot of the dilemmas that many of us are going through right now. And so Romans, I believe 6, there's this tension of like, should we go on sinning just because grace will abound, right? That's the typical like, what do you believe, eternal security, so I can just do whatever I want? And Paul is like, no, just because grace abounds when we sin, it doesn't mean you go on sinning. That means you sin less, right? You'll never be sinless, but you can sin less because you understand grace. So to believe that's Romans 6, right? And then Romans 7, Paul is talking about this relationship he has with his flesh and just struggling and wrestling with things that he feels like he can't control. And he's just like, what a wretched man I am. And it ends though in Romans 8. So the end of Romans 7 is like, what a wretched man I am, who will deliver me from this body of death, which I think a lot of us have been there, right? And then he goes right into Romans 8, which says, there is therefore now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. This juxtaposed is fascinating to me. Paul is wrestling with his flesh. Some people have tried to make theories like, oh, it's before he was saved. He's speaking in past tense. I don't think he's speaking in past tense. I think he's talking about in a very literal sense. He's wrestling with his flesh. He's wrestling with the law of God. And then he's like, what a wretched man I am. The things that I hate to do, I do. The things that I love to do, I can't do, right? And it's this tension in Romans 7. And then the release of it is this. There is therefore now no condemnation to those who are in Christ Jesus, who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. And then he goes on to say, for the law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus has been made free from the law of sin and death. So the grace, the Spirit is free from sin and death. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God did. Remember, the law, you couldn't keep the law. You will struggle with some form of sin, not necessarily habitual, but some degree. You will fall short, okay? Some point in your life, you will fall short, meaning that maybe you'll get to a place where you will hopefully work out all your habitual sin. By the grace of God, your boy's not looking at pornography. I don't have any of those like major sins. But goodness gracious, there's still subtle sins in my life that I have to repent for regularly. There's things I might say. There's things I might think. There's things in my attitudes, me being irritable, the way I speak to people, right? So there's things that I'm always going to have to deal with to some degree, and all of us are, right? If you claim you're without sin, you're a liar. So verse 3 though is the hope. For what the law could not do, in that it was weak through the flesh, God did by sending his own son in the likeness of sinful flesh. On account of sin, he condemned sin in the flesh, that the righteous requirement of the law might be fulfilled to us who do not walk according to the flesh, but according to the Spirit. So the law is fulfilled in the work of Jesus. This is the gospel. This is the good news. You couldn't do it. God did it for you. Amen. This is great. Great news, right? So I think step one is understand the scripture. Maybe you need to memorize Romans 8:1 for yourself. Maybe that needs to be a memory verse for you, that when you slide into that shame, into that self-condemnation, you go, nope, there's now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. Maybe that's something you have to do. 2, I think you have to reflect back on the gospel. It's not you that's doing the saving. It's not you that's doing the sanctification. It's not you that's trying to earn your way to heaven. It's done for you. And once you realize the depth of your sin and the depth of God's grace over your sin, then the byproduct usually of that is, I want to sin less. How do I sin less? God, show me how to sin less. I don't want to do this thing anymore. You've done so much to create pathways for me to be in intimacy with you. I don't want to break that. I don't want to sin against people. How do I get there? And so I think that is the byproduct of understanding the depth of the gospel. When there is a will, there is a way. A lot of us don't have the will to stop sinning because we don't quite understand that the way is through the Spirit and through the gospel. So I think 1, we memorize some scripture. You got to speak some scripture over yourself. I think 2, we jump into the gospel, proclaiming the gospel over yourself. And then I think 3, is where he gets into verse 5. And this is kind of a scary verse because he's juxtaposing all of this, right? And then he says, for those who live according to the flesh set their minds on the things of the flesh, but those who live according to the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. Are you setting your mind according to the things of the Spirit? This is why I'm not big on inquiring about a lot of the things that are happening with the agenda, inquiring about what the non-Christian world is doing, inquiring about what people are doing in the world, inquiring what this agenda has, because my mind is set on the things of the Spirit, not of the flesh. I don't need to set the things of the flesh on in my life, nor do I need to be thinking about these things externally in terms of what's going on in the world around me. Should we be aware? Should we be alert? All of that kind of stuff. But what are you setting your mind on? What are you meditating on? What are you consuming daily? What are you reflecting on? right? Is it the things of the flesh? Is it the world's going to hell in a handbasket, everything's bad? Is it, oh, what a wretched sinner I am, I'm such a terrible person, right? Or are you setting your mind on the things of the Spirit, right? Set their minds and live according to the things of the Spirit. Okay, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace, because the carnal mind is enmity against God. Okay, it is hostile to God, right? For it is subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. So then those who are in the flesh cannot please God. But you are not in the flesh. Remember, this is juxtaposed in chapter 7 when he's talking about wrestling with his flesh. But you are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if indeed the Spirit of God dwells in you. Now, if anyone does not have the Spirit of Christ, he is not in him. He is not him. And if Christ is in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the Spirit is alive because of righteousness. There's that tension again. But if the Spirit of if the Spirit of him who raised Jesus Christ from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bones through his Spirit who dwells in you. Okay, some of you guys are asking for practical disciplines. This is what we're talking about. A lot of you guys are going to deal with some form of sin. You're going to fall short. I'm trying to help you guys get some pathways so that you don't do that. It starts with understanding the gospel. It starts with walking in the Spirit, and then here we get into some particulars, right? Verse 12, it says, therefore, brethren, we are debtors not to the flesh to live according to the flesh. For if you live according to the flesh, you will die. So don't live according to the flesh. Don't do whatever you feel like doing. Don't follow your natural urges. Don't follow your emotions all the time. If you just live according to the flesh, you will die. But, and here's the big but. Okay, you ready for it? But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. For as many as are led by Christ, by the Spirit of God, these are the sons of God. For you did not receive the spirit of bondage again to fear. But there's a lot of fear going on. There's a lot of fear going on in the content space, in the media space. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of people that want you to be afraid. You did not receive the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you received the spirit of adoption, by whom we cry out, Abba, Father. The Spirit himself bears witness with our spirit that we are children. And if children, then heirs of God, and joint heirs with Christ, if indeed we suffer with him, that we may also be glorified together. So it's a lot of this is identity. A lot of this is knowing your identity. Again, there's a part of this of just knowing, dwelling, being present. But there's this one part in here. Okay, there's this one part in here. It says, for if you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live. I think once we're regenerated, born again, the condemnation and the shame has to go. It has to leave. You have to get away from thinking you're this terrible person, this terrible sinner. It has to go. You need to be aware of your weaknesses, and you need to be aware of ways you may stumble. But the shame and that cloud, you have to remove that. Okay. Then you have to know the gospel. You have to be present, meditating the gospel. Now, what's the next process in it? What's the next step in that? It's to put to death the deeds of the flesh by the Spirit. Okay? Put to death the deeds of the flesh by the Spirit. When there's a will, there's a way. If you now have this understanding of the grace of God, if you now know and understand that you don't need shame and you don't need condemnation, there's no condemnation for those in Christ. If you understand that, then the byproduct of that is, I have to wage war on my sin. By the Spirit, I'm going to put to death my flesh. What does that look like for you? What sins are you dealing with? What sins are you dealing with? What are you dealing with that's causing you to stay in that loop? Okay? And then we know, and we go to the arsenal of tools available to us. What sins are you dealing with? For me, when I was dealing with sexual addiction, pornography, which by the grace of God, it's been well over a year, maybe 2. I stopped counting, but it's been a really long time since I looked at porn and masturbated, okay? It's been a very long time. But for me, I had to get serious about my sleep, about my mental health, about getting to the root of the issue and not just the fruit. See, a lot of times we're just wandering around looking at these weeds in the garden and looking at the toxic fruit that's been produced in our lives, and we ignore the root of the issue. Where's the root of your sin coming from if it's that habitual type of sin? So then you have to start addressing the root, and you start attacking, you start creating a game plan, right? And for me, it was a holistic change. I had to go to bed earlier because guess what? You're more likely to look at stuff you shouldn't look at when you're up late. You're more likely to eat stuff You shouldn't eat when you're up late. You're more likely to waste time when you're up late. Your willpower is diminishing, right? That means that your willpower is not infinite. You have a degree of limit to your willpower. So you might feel great to eat good in the morning, to not look at things you shouldn't look at, to be kind and patient. But as the day goes on, that willpower depletes. You get more irritable. The more tired you get more irritable. You get more tempted to need a release. The more tired you get, the more frustrated you get, the later you stay up. Your body releases chemicals called, I think it's called Kremlin, that releases things to make you more hungry later at night. So I had to get my sleeping in order. Right? I had to go to therapy. I had to get a community and a support system to help me talk through what this loop was that I was in, where I kept repeating the same mistakes over and over again. I had to wage war on my flesh through the Spirit. And it took a couple different arsenals. In war, you don't just use one thing. There's not a one size fits all. When you go to war, there's multiple tools, there's multiple strategies. Right? So some of you guys, you may need to come up to church on Sunday and get deliverance and get prayer and have the elders lay hands on you and pray for you. Okay, I did that. Other of you guys, you may need to join a small group. Other of you guys, you may need to Kremlin. It's called Kremlin, yeah. Others of you guys may need to, go to therapy. Go find a good Christian therapist or a Christian counselor. Other of you guys, you may just need to adjust your sleep. Maybe it's not that deep. Maybe you got a trash routine. You stay up late, right? And you need to just go to bed earlier. Right? So we have to know what our options are in war and wage war on our flesh. That is the practical side. So very practical, very practical. Get your butt to bed on time. Get your butt to bed early. Get your butt up early, right? Get your butt up early. Get up early. Go do something in the morning, right? Get up and go do something. This is why I love the gym. I have a quote. I think I made it up. I'm not sure. It's very David Goggins inspired. Choose your suffering or your suffering will choose you. Choose your suffering or your suffering will choose you. Choose some degree of adversity, because if you don't, later it will catch up to you. This is why strength training is helpful. Right? If you're strength training, if you're going to the gym, you're self-inflicting discomfort, suffering, right? You're preparing your body and your flesh. And so then it becomes easier when life actually throws tragedy at you, because you've developed that muscle, you develop that resilience to keep going no matter what life throws at you. Right? So it's a holistic process. A lot of us want this magic bullet and we're just like, oh man, if I could just... No, fam, like it's an across the board spectrum. So healthy habits, waking up early, not staying up as late, drinking water, right? Taking naps on the weekends if you need to take a nap, if you feel like your willpower is depleted. Naps for me, man, mitigate a lot of my moodiness and, all these different things. So those are some practical tools, man. If you're in that loop, with having the same position over and over again, I think you need to really reevaluate that. So this is some practical things that you can do, and I think first it's a mentality shift. Then it's a knowledge and awareness of your identity, and then you got some work to do, fam. You got some work to do. I had some work to do. I still have some work to do, right? I'm trying to lose 20, 25 pounds. I got some work to do. I got to get my butt up earlier in the morning before my family's up, get my butt to the gym, right? Like I got work to do. You got work to do. All right. So hopefully that's helpful. All right. Let me do some more of these. Is it gremlin, not Kremlin? Gremlin is the hormone. Thank you. What did I say initially? Did I say Kremlin or gremlin? I know Kremlin is the Russian Kremlin. Anyway, if you guys want to call in, Zoom line is open. Shout out to Anthony. He says, has your perspective changed on the Shylin-Lecrae exchange? In your interview with Lecrae, it sounded like Lecrae's change in his style came from questioning his faith, which seemed like the critique Shy had. No, it didn't. I think Shy was very out of pocket for that. Specifically, Shy was out of pocket for, in my opinion, he reposted an article calling Lecrae an apostate. Now, if you don't know what an apostasy is, that's like you've completely denied the faith and you're far gone. So Shy's issue with Lecrae was more about like, you collaborated with Ty Dolla Signs, like you don't talk about Jesus much. Okay, that's all fine. You can have disagreements on that. When you then make that an indictment on everything, and then you retweet an article saying somebody has denied the faith and is an apostate, when someone's actually struggling to maintain faith, I think that's very problematic and very dangerous. And by the way, the whole Shaolin thing came full circle for him, and I think it's ironic that Vodi, I think it's Vodi, sent shots at Shy and Lecrae in the same book called Fault Lines. So I think that's hilarious that came full circle, and they were on the receiving end of the same kind of stuff that Shy had to say about Lecrae, even though it was more so about like, they're all disputable matters at the end of the day. Like, I saw the Ty Dolla $ign's song, I didn't think nothing of it. Then I talked to Shy about it, and he was like, man, Ty Dolla $ign's content is the antithesis of what Lecrae's content has been historically. And then I thought about it. I said, hey, you know what? That's a good point. But is it a point where you're going to say a bunch of kind of wild stuff about him, right? And he did say apostasy in the line. I go pull up the lyrics if you want. But he said some stuff that was out of pocket. When you start throwing around words like apostate, you gotta be very careful with stuff like that. When you start saying people aren't Christian anymore, you gotta be very careful with stuff like that. How to decide what ideas to put all your energy into and what ideas are just distractions and aren't from God. I have too many ideas and I get overwhelmed. Abigail, great question. I think you have to, I have a niche training that you could check out on this. I highly recommend it. I think it's a combination of what are you an expert on? What are you truly an expert on? What are you good at? And what opportunity is in the marketplace? Oftentimes we follow our ideas or God's ideas, or it can get muddy. And Abigail, we shouldn't always follow those, because sometimes those are our passions and they're not God's ideas. It's a quote from Mike Rowe, I think. Don't follow your passion, follow the opportunity. Take your passion with you. Right? So sometimes you have an idea, you have something that you think you want to do or you think God's called you to, when in reality, it might just be your idea, right? Like, I thought I was supposed to go to the NBA and be a professional basketball player. That wasn't God's idea for me. Not genetically, not with access to the right coaching, the right team, the right geography where I live, none of that. It wasn't the right idea. And at one point I believed it was. That doesn't mean anything. So oftentimes it's following the opportunity. Now, I chose music instead, and the opportunity in music was just quite simply, I was the only rapper at my school at the time, right? I was literally like one of 3 rappers at my school, and I was the only rapper selling stuff. I was selling my CDs. I was selling t-shirts. I was entrepreneurial very early on, before I even understood what being an entrepreneur was. That was different. There was an opportunity there. There was a option in the marketplace that wasn't being fulfilled. So I think you have to, the hard part about this, Abigail, is you have to stop and pause and go, where's the opportunity in the marketplace? Where's the opportunity in the marketplace for you to solve a problem? And that's where and I would follow the opportunity when it's aligned with the thing you're already good at and thing that you like, you can enjoy doing, the thing you enjoy doing, or the thing you can learn to enjoy doing, right? I did. It was very good. What are your views on secular music? Such a broad category. I think it depends what secular music, right? Like okay, here's an example. Some of you guys think Kanye's Donda is secular music. I love Donda. I think it was great, right? Some of you guys think Justin Bieber's Jalen, do you recommend engineers, producers learn skills? Absolutely. It's very unlikely you're just gonna win as an engineer producer this time. I think you got definitely stacked that, talent stacked that, skills stacked out with engineering and producing. Absolutely. But let me go back to Born Blessed Comedy. So my thoughts on secular music is, I love Justin Bieber's Freedom album, right? I love Kanye's Donda album. I'm trying to think of some other stuff that could be considered secular. Toby, I like Toby Wigway. He's a Christian who's a secular artist. I think some of the stuff he does is super dope. But the Drake album, some of you guys love Certified Lover Boy. I couldn't make through it. I could not make it through an album about a 34, 35-year-old grown man. He's my age, rapping about the things he's rapping about. I can't. I really can't. Even the description of it on Apple Music was like, male chauvinism meets vulnerability. I'm like, ugh. And so and that's no judgment to any of you guys who enjoy Drake. I don't, because I think a lot of his worldview is in such opposition to my worldview that I my time is limited, my energy is limited. And I just didn't think the music was that great, right? Like I don't think the music was that great. Baby Keem, like I'm just not interested. And I know everybody's talking about Baby Keem. Not interested. I'm just not. Like I might listen to that album. You know, and Kendrick's on it and cool, but like I'm just not interested. If you like, you know, Baby Keem, am I mad at you? No, I question your taste in music. Top of the morning, 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 right? Terrible to me. It's like it's made for TikTok. It's like made for TikTok. Like Kendrick's in the studio trying to hack up something for TikTok, and I think he's almost vicariously living through a persona on a J. Cole album that he knows that as a 35, 36-year-old man who's married with children, he can't get away with. So I can't. Top of the morning, you know. It's not good to me. To me. That doesn't mean it's not good. It's not good to me. So you do with that what you will, right? Yeah, terrible. Top of the morning. Anyway, so hopefully that answers. Thoughts on BJ Lang. All I know of BJ Lang is Kendrick and Baby Keem, and I hope Kendrick doesn't keep making this music. I think it's. And by the way, Baby Keem has like the dopest delivery with the worst content. He's saying nothing. Got a girlfriend, did he need to quit it? Like, it's just, what is happening, right? But hey, I mean, that's what the kids like. It's made, I think, with the end in mind, which is cool. I think it's gonna be wildly successful, and I think Baby Keem will evolve. It's just not for me. Like, I'm a 36-year-old dad. Like, I'm gonna listen to Baby Keem, top of the morning, you know? I don't know. In your opinion, why do you think after the story of Jesus, the story of Moses is the most popular biblical story among non-Christians? I think because the story of Moses is the second most important story in terms of Jewish history, right? So you have Christianity, which is the world's largest religion, and I don't know, I think Islam is the second largest. I'm assuming Judaism is up there too. And so I think the story of Moses is the foundational framework of the Jewish heritage. So I think that is why it's probably up there. My man Joshua said 20 years old, Baby Keem is not it. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. I appreciate you, cruel philosopher, for the super chat. But yeah, I think it would be those would be my two understandings. Is that it's probably because Jewish religion and Jewish culture influences so much of what we do that I think that would probably be the reason why it's up there. So hopefully that answers your question. Guys, if you want to call in and talk to me face to face, man, I would love to get to know some of you guys. That'd be fantastic. This is a good question. What is the difference between toxic self-love and biblical self-love? I think toxic self-love is a selfishness, and it's something that puts you at the epicenter of your life and your life, your will, your desires. And I would say biblical self-love is something that puts God at the apex of everything. So toxic self-love is you have the right to do what you want. You can do what you want. You can live how you want. And I would say biblical self-love is you live according to God's ways because God's love is best for you. It's like the difference between a worldly freedom and biblical freedom. Like worldly freedom is the ability to do whatever you want to do. Biblical freedom is the ability to not sin and not stay trapped in the same toxic pathways that hurt you and are going to disrupt the trajectory of your life, right? So I think it's the same thing. I just did a video on Mike Tyson, and again, some of you guys are like, Mike Tyson, how dare you talk about Mike Tyson? He's not a Christian. He said something that I thought was very, very interesting. He said self-love is discipline because you have to love yourself enough to discipline yourself. And he said discipline is doing the thing that you hate, but doing it like you love it. I was like, man, that's pretty aligned with Jesus, right? Lay down your life and follow me. Lay down your life, pick up your cross, follow me. Right? He who wants to gain his life will lose it. the root word of disciple is directly connected to discipline. So I think there's something about, and when we start talking about this kind of stuff, people check out because our flesh doesn't like being told it needs to be disciplined, right? What is your eschatological belief on the rapture? I don't know. I did a video on end times, and Dylan, I think you should check that out. I will say I'm most intrigued and most hopeful for a preterist post-millennial position. I don't take a firm position. Because I don't know. I don't know how it's all going to play out. But I would say I'm most hopeful for a preterist post-millennial position. Question just started. Una struggling in drinking hookup culture. How can I live differently while still getting involved, plus not being self-righteous? Wait, hold on. I'm confused. Help me understand. You just started struggling with hookup culture? I'm confused. Can you clarify this question, William? Let me read this again. I just started university. I just started university. Okay, here we go. Sorry. I just started university, struggling with drinking hookup culture. How can I live differently while still getting involved, plus not being self-righteous? Okay, I get it. Okay. So you're in university and you're struggling with drinking and hookup culture. When you are in institutions, systems that are dark, you need to have people around you that are going to be consumed with lifting you up, holding you up, and being the light in your life. So when I was in college, I found Christian friends that were on campus, and I did my best, if I was going to be on campus, going to be around the scene, that I was going to be around other Christians that could hold me accountable. This is true now. Now I do it a little different virtually, but like YouTube can get really dark, like especially the comment section from some of the Christian community can get really weird. So I have brothers in my life that lift me up, encourage me, right? Challenge me, help me not just wander into the darkness, And I think those things help a ton. Those things really help a ton. So I would say get some accountability. Joshua, thank you so much. Joshua said get involved in a campus ministry with the best thing for me and my faith. Yep. And those aren't always cool, by the way. God will use some very uncool people to keep you grounded. God will keep some very uncool people to keep you grounded. Yes. So campus ministry, I think, is cool. So yeah, I would say there. Okay. Edward said, do you get sponsors? Do you prefer just to promote your own brand? Yeah. I just like to do my own thing, Edward, because the ROI, like what I would have to charge for a sponsored post, wouldn't make sense yet. And I don't like to sell to you guys. So if I'm going to sell to you, I'm going to sell to you my own product. I don't want to be like, and today we got a yerba mate 25th anniversary, right? Like, if I really believe in a product and they reach out, maybe. But if I'm gonna do sales stuff, I want to make it infrequent, and I want to make it something that is focused to building something up that we're building here, not just like taking a bag for something. And so we've gotten offers, and I don't know, equipment, microphones, that kind of stuff. I've just never been interested, so I have never officially done a deal like that. Hopefully that makes sense. Some interesting questions coming in. Let's see. Guys, again, if you want to call in, feel free to. Off subject, but I looked for the hoodie you were wearing. Great Christmas gift for older grandsons. Yes, I'm older and I love your wisdom. I suggest for listeners, Michael Winger is a good resource. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, the hoodies should be available within the coming weeks. Somebody asked my thoughts on masturbation. Oh gosh. We're definitely trying to get the video demonetized, right? Ruslan, who's your favorite Bible character besides Jesus in the Bible? Good question. Joseph. I like Joseph. I've been reading a story of Joseph recently. Okay, masturbation. Gosh, we're gonna open this can of worms, are we? First of all, you got to define what that means, right? You got to define what that means. Which context, right? Are we talking a married couple performing the act on each other? This is gonna get rated R. So y'all asked for it.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Explicit.
Masturbation. What are we talking about? Are we talking about a married couple performing the act on themselves? No, I don't think there's anything wrong with a married couple performing the act on themselves. Are we talking about a married couple doing the act to themselves while the other person watches? Y'all asked for this. You guys asked for this, okay? Okay? So a married couple, the act while someone else watches. Not someone else, themselves, right? That's a thing. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Are we talking about a married couple? One couple is away on tour, and another couple is doing FaceTime activities. Use your imagination. Okay? One couple is doing FaceTime activity. The other couple is taking care of themselves. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I can keep going of scenarios where I don't think there's anything I think there's anything wrong with that. Now, yeah, FaceTime activities. That's the thing. So I don't know the value, despite what some scientists may say. I don't know the value of a man or a woman, but a man specifically masturbating as a form of manual emission. I don't know the value of that. Okay, say hypothetically, let's just throw out a hypothetical scenario. Okay, I listen. I warned you guys. Okay, I warned you guys.
Explicit.
Let's just say hypothetically. Someone is single and they're not looking at porn, okay? Which let's keep it a buck. That's seldom. Seldom does that happen, right? Seldom does that happen. But let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, someone is single and they're not looking at porn, right? And they're masturbating they're just in a shower. Just throw that out there, right? I don't see the value in that. I don't see the point of that. Okay? It's like the equivalent of, like, is it permissible for a couple to live together even if they're not fornicating before they're married? And I would say, I mean, I guess you could potentially find a loophole in that situation where, you know, like we had a situation, I don't want to get into the particulars because the person might be watching it, but we had a situation where, you know, there was someone I knew that was involved in ministry and they were actually living with elders, and they were living with elders. They were not married yet. They were about to get married, and someone didn't, someone who was a leader didn't want, or ex-elders. Anyway, someone didn't want them to live together. The ex-elder couple said, "Listen, we meet with this couple all the time. How about they live in separate rooms? They had a big property. They can live in separate rooms." Okay, boom. That's an exception to the rule. They were already not fornicating. They were in this weird transition. But okay, that's an exception to the rule. A couple lives on the same property, but they're living across the bill, right? Exception to the rule. Let's keep it a buck. The vast majority of people who are cohabitating are probably sexually immoral. Okay? And so you could find this one specific instance of a person who isn't and say, "Oh, see, look, I found it," right? But the vast majority of people who are cohabitating are probably not going to get married, or more likely to get divorced, right? And are there scenarios where like it may happen? Sure, there are, right? So with regards to masturbation, I would say I think it's the same. Is there the particular of someone somewhere giving themselves a release and they're not doing it in a lustful way? Is that possible? Sure, it's possible. Is that good? Is that healthy? Is that beneficial? Right? Is it a slippery slope? Is it going to create more problems? I think more than likely it is, and therefore I probably wouldn't advise it. And I'm gonna keep it real. You guys wanted to go here. You guys wanted to go here, right?
Explicit.
I've shared that I haven't looked at pornography. I haven't done anything in years. But my wife just had a baby. We have a 5-month-old. Okay, guess what? In that months of time where we weren't being intimate because she just pushed out a human, I did not do that. I did not do that thinking of her in the shower. I did not do that. I just said, I'm a man. I could tough it out, right? And it was more than the 8 weeks. I know that much, right? And so, hey, man, sometimes you just got to man up and tough it out, right? I think that is good. Men, I think that's good. I think there is something to this whole like no fap thing. I don't know if it's scientific, but I think there's something to, hey, we're going to wage war on our flesh through the Spirit. We're going to not view pornography because we know unanimously, secular, everyone is like, fam, not good. That's not good. We know that's not good. And then we know scripturally that's lustful. That's bad. So now can you find me this scenario where it's possible? Sure, you can. But I think it's an opportunity for you to exhibit the fruit of the Spirit. Shout out to the Harrison family vlogs who just hopped in. I think it's an opportunity for you to grow in self-control. I think it's an opportunity for you to understand how to regulate your moods. The opportunity for you to understand how to regulate your willpower. Opportunity for you to process how it's going to be at some point when and if you do have children as a married couple, that your wife isn't just gonna be down to take care of you after she pushes out a human. So guess what? You're gonna probably go through a different season in your life where you're gonna have to go extended periods of time without a release. Why not master that while you're single? And if you're addicted, if you have sexual trauma, maybe you go to therapy and you master that situation now. So by the time your wife does have a baby, or however long that is, and you're not like, oh no, I'm right, and you fall apart, and you fall apart, and you jump right back into pornography. Right? I think it's an opportunity to do that. Right? I think it's an opportunity to do that. So. Not a popular answer. Some of you guys are looking for a way out. Some of you guys are like, tell me it's okay. Nah, I think it's an opportunity for you to grow in self-control. I think it's probably in your best interest to figure out how to not give into your sexual desires. And I think it's also very difficult to very difficult to make an argument that if you can do it without lusting, if you can do it without pornography, if you can do it without crossing the lust porn threshold, I think it's very, very hard to justify that then doesn't become a recurring thing for you. You know what I'm saying? A recurring pattern for you. I think it's very difficult to make that argument. And I think that we would say, well, yeah, you got to learn to control yourself, because at some point you're going to have to learn to control yourself. At some point you know. So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. Is it okay for Christian women to not want kids but want marriage? Sure. I would want to get to the why of that, right? If you have, is it because you have health complications? Is it because of, right? I would want to get to the why of that. Then I would say, is it just because of trauma? Is it because of conspiracy theories? Like, I think you have to get, I would encourage you to get to the root of that, just so you're self-aware. But I don't think in and of itself, I don't think there's anything wrong with just being like, I just don't want kids. Cool. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you don't want kids. I would encourage you to figure out why, because I think the why around that is important. Because here's the deal. Vast majority of you guys will get married, and the vast majority of people who get married will probably want families, right? It's astronomically. So I think you may then be reducing your, say, options, but it's going to be tougher to find a Christian man who wants to get married to you and also not want kids. And is that something you're willing to compromise in, right? So if you're a Christian woman, you don't want kids, but you meet a guy, he's amazing, he loves Jesus, and say there's no health complications, say it's not like you can't have kids, say it's nothing like that, right? You're not at risk of dying if you have a kid. But then are you willing to compromise on that if you meet a guy that loves Jesus, loves you, but he wants children? I think you have to work through that scenario, right? Because now you're limiting your options substantially, and you also have to be aware of that, right? You have to be aware of that. Hopefully that's helpful. Is that a helpful answer? Is that a helpful answer? Again, there's so many variables to that. I would just be more curious to why, and then I would say, is there an opportunity? Would you ever compromise on that? Would you ever compromise on that? Natalie said, yes, figure out why, because I originally did not want kids, and through therapy and the Holy Spirit found out it was due to child trauma. I have now overcome, and God has changed my heart. Amen. Praise God. Summer said, is it wrong for me to not want a friendship with someone even after I've forgiven this person? Have I actually forgiven the person if I have these feelings? Sure. I think forgiveness is an interesting thing, right? We can forgive somebody, but you still want to maintain boundaries. Certain things that you can be restored but not reconciled, right? There could be a restoration. You forgive them, you release the heart hostility, but that doesn't mean the relationship is going to go back. Hold on, Summer, give me a sec. Yes, thank you. I just don't like kids. There's so much work and I'm not ready for that. Totally. Listen, I don't know your age, but I wasn't ready for that early on, for sure. My heart, and I always wanted a family, but I would say as you go on down life, your life will become, God willing, become more stable. You will become, have more healthy structure, routine, all these different things. I think your heart could change, right? And I just wouldn't close that off. If you're going into dating with that dogma, I would just say get to the reason why you have that dogma, right? Get to the reason of why you have that dogma, because that's a strong dogma to be like, I don't want kids, when, most Christian men are going to want kids, at some point. And maybe God changes your heart. Maybe you become more of a nurturer. Maybe you have children and you are in a financial position to hire a nanny. Maybe your family's close by and they can help you, right? I don't know. There's so many different variables and layers to it. When is the Love You Do taking off? Soon. I got the music done. Wanted to get the music done, and then single dropping Friday called First Love It, and then we're going to be announcing everything really soon, so within a few weeks. All right. Does the family of God come first or individual families? The Christian teaching is that individual families do in the modern American church, but the Bible not emphasize more family than God. That's a good question, Sarah. I don't know. I think relationally, if we're talking priorities, I would say marriage, family, right? Well, God, marriage, family, then church family, if that's kind of what you were. I'm not sure if that's what you're asking, so feel free to clarify. I'm going to go back to you, Summer. There's nothing wrong with having unforgiveness. Here's what I do think is wrong, though. I do think it's wrong for you to cut somebody off because you've forgiven them but aren't in a place to be reconciled, right? And not tell them about it. Like, I think that's mad passive-aggressive and toxic. So if you are in a relationship, there's a friendship there, something happened, you guys sinned, you sinned, they sinned against you. Okay, cool. You guys had some tension or broke off. You forgave that person forgave you. There's restoration. But you go, I can't really have this person in my life. They're too critical. They take me back to that space. I don't like that, right? That's okay. What's not okay is if that person gets cut off and you never have that conversation. You forgive that person, but you don't give them access anymore and they don't know why. And then there's this weird like tension. You see them in public and right. I don't think that's helpful. I think if someone's, hey, we're good. Everything is solid, but hey, I'm over here doing this thing right now. Listen, I gotta focus on what God has in front of me, whatever, right? Like in a dating relationship, I have exes that I'm cool with, but like we're not kicking it anymore because I'm married with kids, and that's just inappropriate, right? There's business relationships that I was really close to, and now we're not as close because I'm moved on and I'm doing other things, and right? So I think there's a time and a place for that. But what you don't want to do is leave somebody on the other end hanging like, wait a minute, I thought we were good. And it's like, what happened, right? I do think there's this flippant nature, and that's one of the things that's frustrating. Somebody asked about Gen Z earlier. About Gen Z is I do think there's this really high propensity to just cut people off, and they never know why they got cut off. And I think that's mad toxic, passive aggressive, and very unhelpful. And I don't recommend that. SK, any more videos on the Manosphere? Yes, stay tuned, my brother. Stay tuned. Hey, Ruslan here from the roommates. Shout out to you, man. This is good. These are the type of folks I want to talk to. Talk to all y'all. What do you think the best ways to minister to Gen Z? I'm pinning your comment. I'm gonna come right back to you. Okay. What do you think the best way? What do you think is the best way to minister to Gen Z? I don't know if there's a new way to minister to people. I think the rules are tried and true. Love people, love God, care for people. And I think that would be my advice. Listen to people. Hear where they're coming from, be able to articulate their hurts and their worries, right? How do you think Christians forgot they're in a cult? Whoa, that's a heavy question. Goodness gracious, y'all come up with the question. Yo, this would be much better if you guys just called in. How do you heal from trauma? Go to therapy. If you could collab with anyone, who would it be? YouTube? Paul Morgan, shout out to you guys. Jesse Lee Peterson. Jesse Lee Peterson. Shout out to Paul Morgan. They had a brutal Jesse Lee Peterson interview. Paul Morgan, you talking about music or are you talking about YouTube? Music or YouTube? Chest piercings for Christians? There was a girl I was interacting with, and so she got her pierced. She called them her visual enhancers. I don't know. That's wild. I don't know. I have no idea. That's a curveball. I don't know. I got nothing. I think it would be, I would be curious as to why. Like, why would someone do that? Devencor, give me 1 sec. I'm going to come to you right now. Just give me 1 sec. Wow, what an interesting question. I don't know about you. I don't know. I don't think there's anything wrong in and of itself of having a piercing, right? I would just be curious why. Like, what is the heart behind that? Like a tongue piercing or whatever. When did you get it done? Why did you get it done? Like I wouldn't be mad at someone who, I don't know. It's dicey. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole right now. I don't know. I think if someone gets something done pre-Christ, belly button, that belly button ring, you're trying to bring attention to your belly button. Tongue ring, you're trying to communicate something. Chest piercing, you're trying to communicate something. If they get that done before Christ and they still wear the piercing, am I mad about it? I'm probably not bringing that up. Like I'm not coming to them and like, hey brother, I see you have your tongue ring in. Are you planning to take that out? I'm probably just praying for that person, loving that person. Keep it pushing, keep it pushing. I'm probably not trying to have a conversation with them, I'm so lost right now. I feel as though I don't know. Okay, hold on. Let me come back to you. So yeah, I'm probably not coming to that person. Now, post salvation, I don't know. I would just be like, what is she trying to communicate? Like if you're dating a girl, everything's good, and all of a sudden she's like, I'm getting my chest pierced. I'd be like, huh? For what? Right? Like what's the What's the point? I don't know, fam. I don't know. I think I'm just trying to think of a scenario where that would be okay. What if you guys were dating and about to get engaged and get married, and she did it as like a thing for the honeymoon? Would that be permissible then? Maybe. You know. You know. Tag glorify God. Let me come back to you. Boss. I saw your comment. I'm gonna go to Devon Core. All right. Hey, Ruslan, here from the roommates. So I am 21. Go to gym 4 or 5 times a week, I'm assuming. College, some side hustle, part-time job, dress well, cook, have hobbies and interests. Still a virgin. Shout out to you. Question 1. How do I remove the icky? See, question 2. The icky. Where's the icky? Oh, no, I got to find other words. The icky feeling from women having high body counts. 2, how can I get in a relationship with a fit and smart, non-promiscuous woman? That's a good question. Where do I surround myself with more potential suitors? I lack proximity to suitable women. Also, I'm an atheist. Well, you know, okay, well, first of all, I don't know. I'm gonna just keep it a buck with you. You're asking me questions that is outside of the realms because I don't know where atheist people go to meet other atheist people that are fit, good looking, and aren't promiscuous, right? And it's not an indictment on atheists, because I'm not saying all atheists are godless and, you know, we'll run around here with multiple body, you know, crazy body counts. I don't know, okay? I don't know. What I'm saying to you is it's going to be tough to find that when you are, clarification, I don't mind her being Christian. Of course you don't. Shout out to the atheists. Here you go. Hey, surrender your life to Jesus. Surrender your life to Jesus. Get plugged into a local church. That will probably alleviate all those things. If you got side hustles, you're good looking, you smell good, you look good, you work out, and you're in a healthy local church, my brother, it ain't gonna be long if you surrender your life to Jesus. Don't do it on the account of me telling you to land a girl. Do it because you should. Look at the historical claims of the resurrection. But to answer your question, I was just having this conversation at my church this morning, and I was sitting there talking to 2 young ladies I think both of them are under 25, 30. One young lady dating a young man that is just rock star young man, fit, watches the channel. I'm trying to have him on the channel. Watches the channel, came up to me the other day, told me he watched the channel at the gym. We had a beautiful conversation. In shape, tall, handsome, just a total package. She's dating him. They're under 21, 22, both fit, go to the gym together, have the same values, both come from good families in the church. Odds are they'll probably be married in a year and a half, right? Then I was talking to another lady sitting next to her, young, beautiful, attractive, talented. She's dating a guy, they're married. They've been married, right? Everywhere I look around my church, there's a bunch of young, emotionally stable, solid Christian people who love God and love each other and are getting married and starting families, right? Now, somebody would push back, like my man Hafiz said, oh, well, that's an anomaly. Maybe it is. Maybe Southern California just has more attractive people, and attractive people gravitate towards each other. And because I'm married and got married young to an attractive person, maybe I'm more self-aware of it, right? Maybe that's the case. So then we would say, well, that's not average people. Let's just play that. Let's just go down that rabbit hole. That's not what average people are doing. That was Hafiz's pushback. I don't want you to be average. I don't want anybody to watch this channel to be average. You watch this channel, you're going, oh, well, I'm overweight and I don't make a lot of money and I want to find a godly person. Okay, how do we take you from being average? 40% of Americans are morbidly obese. 40%. Okay, I think 60% of people hate what they do for a living. Close to 70% of people don't have an emergency fund. I don't want you to be average. How do we take people from being average and push them over to being outliers? How do we create a culture that are outliers, statistical anomalies? How do we do that? right? So you would have to take a sober assessment. And again, to me, it's not about what you have. It's not about how good you look. To me, it's not about how much money you make. To me, the question is, are you being faithful with what you've been given? Are you been faithful with what you've been given? There's certain body types that they might be, quote unquote, heavier on the scale, but that person will be stronger. That person, you know, is going to be more fit, is going to be, you know what I mean? Like there's women who are heavier, but they're super duper athletic. And I don't mean like morbidly obese. I just mean like if the average weight for, I don't know, 5'8" girl is 140 or 150, she's 160, but she's a freaking athlete. She'll destroy you on a court. She'll destroy you on a tennis court. She'll destroy you in a foot race, right? That's different. Right? That's different. So you see what I'm saying? So the question isn't how much do you weigh or how good do you look or, right? How much do you weigh? How good do you look? How much money you make? The question is, are you doing the most? Are you doing the most with what you've been given? Are you doing the most with what you've been given? There's a lot of beautiful people out here. There's a lot of beautiful people out here that have very disgusting behavior and they're toxic. And the moment they open their mouth, you go, ugh, right? Beautiful people, beautiful. You look at them and you look at a picture and you go, oh, wow. That's a beautiful person. And then the moment they open their mouth, you go, oh, right? So what about people that maybe on the surface, they don't measure up to the Western standard of beauty, but the moment they open their mouth, you go, wow, that's a person of character. They're humble, they're eloquent, they're gracious, they're compassionate. You can tell they value certain things. They take care of themselves. They work out, right? They spend time praying, they spend time fasting, and they spend time around quality people. They spend time disciplining themselves, right? So when you're examining this idea, my question would be, it sounds like you're doing the best with what you have. I honestly think it becomes a network and a proximity thing for you. And I don't have the answer for you if you're an atheist to go, where do you find atheist women that don't have high body counts? I have no idea. I'll tell you where they are. If you're a Christian, they're in a good, local, healthy, Bible-believing church, right? Not every church is healthy. Again, maybe my church is just an outlier. I understand. I don't know, right? But yeah, I don't know, but what I do know is if you're doing the most with what you have, the byproduct of that, shout out to my man, I Am Rescued, for telling everybody to subscribe to the channel. I do know that the byproduct of that usually is find someone who is in your network, and your network is going to be one of the most important things. Who are the people you're around? Who are the people you're talking to? So on and so forth, right? And so I don't understand how those networks work. That's outside of my level of expertise. But I'll tell you what, if you were everything you just described and you were around me, you were at my local church or you were around Rhythm Church, wouldn't take you long to find a beautiful young lady who is also a virgin. Maybe, or maybe she's not a virgin, but she's been with one guy or made a mistake when she was a teenager, right? Whatever, right? And there are going to be women that also, have a past and whatever. And I don't think you just discard those women either, right? If God's done a regenerative work on them and they're amazing and, they went down the whatever modern women road and was sexually liberated, and then they turn around and God's transformed them. I don't think you discard those women. I think that's whack, right? I don't think you discard single mothers. But if you're saying this will be the ideal, I'm 24, whatever. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Don't go to church for that though. Don't come faking a funk. Don't come faking a funk. Don't come faking a funk. Don't come to my church on that. What are some red flags in a girl when searching for a wife? Oh, you gonna hate this answer. You guys don't want this answer. I gotta go in a few minutes, but I might as well. Let's stay on this relationship theme for a minute, okay? Okay, question. So I have been started to become a bit more curious about how Christian people pray, but I don't want to be the only black person. He said colored. You can't say colored, bro. Black person and make other people feel like I'm being creepy. I'm confused what to do. I can't. Now I don't know if you're trolling me or not. There's my church is very multiracial. Again, maybe my church is an outlier. My church is very multiracial. My pastor's white. His wife is black. You walk in and the worship service looks like United Nations. Maybe we're outliers in that regard. Maybe we are, right? But where are you located too, by the way? Could you tell me where you're located? And I'll come back to what are some red flags in a girl when searching for a wife? Red flags. If you're a Christian, she's not a Christian. Okay, a lot of you guys are thinking with the wrong head. Out the rip, you're thinking with the wrong head. Can you DM me too, by the way, the Devon Core? We could talk more offline. I'd love to talk to you more. You're thinking with the wrong head. So if she's not, you're in Dallas. Yo, Devon Core, I'll be in Dallas in October. I think October 10th, actually hanging out with Hafiz. So DM me on Instagram. Let's connect. You guys are coming in with all the questions all at once. Okay, so red flags. You're a follower of Jesus. She's not a follower of Jesus. Red flag. A lot. I've been there. Beautiful women, not a follower of Jesus. I know she's not a follower of Jesus, but I start rationalizing. I go down the rabbit hole. I make some mistakes. Red flag number 2. You're a follower of Jesus. She claims to be a follower of Jesus, but there's no evidence of fruit. There's no evidence of community. There's no evidence of devotion. There's no evidence of biblical knowledge. There's no evidence of the understanding the essentials. There's no fruit of repentance. Okay, but you just say, "Oh, she's fire. She's good looking. Therefore, I'm going to pursue her and I'm going to date her." Okay, so I would say be careful. Be careful there, right? I think you just hopped in the call. Let me see. Boom. So I would say that, and then I would say let's go deeper now. What are her friends like? Okay. What are her friends like? Okay. What is her community like? Okay. And so let's go deeper. This is a non-negotiable for me. This is a non-negotiable for me. Some of you guys are gonna be super upset. Okay. Does she have a gang of guy friends? Non-negotiable. I'm not doing it. If her primary circle of friends is a bunch of dudes, nope, can't do it. That's a red flag. Right? My wife at the time, we had mutual acquaintances, folks that were my friends and her friends that were guy friends, and I was just like, look, that's a non-negotiable. You're not gonna be hanging out with all these dudes, right? And she wasn't even hanging out with them, but like in the community of our high school, those were some of our friends. I was like, yeah, that's not happening. You know what I'm saying? That's not gonna be a thing. We can hang out with them together, but you're not just gonna be out here like, my best friend's a guy. Yeah, nah, stop it. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying it's highly unlikely that something like that is happening. Right? So hopefully that answers your question. A couple red flags. I think spiritually is the most important, and then I think the rest we can build on top of. So we have somebody calling a Zoom. Let me get you pinned up, my brother, and we will. I'm gonna come to you right now. Wait, how do I pin? Wait, boom, pin. All right. Let me know how to say your name. Is it Narukami HD? Is that how you say your name, boss? Hey, can you hear me? Hey, do you say your name Narukami?
Oh, what? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How do you pronounce your name, brother?
That's just my my channel name.
Okay, respect.
My real name is Herman.
Herman.
Yeah.
Herman, thank you for being here, brother. Talk to me, man.
So I have a question about useful skills and the development of them. You talk a lot about it. I've been video editing for about 2 years, and I'm wondering how I can turn that into revenue.
Okay. What kind of video editing? Tell me more. What software are you on? What are you doing with your tell me give me some more details.
So I do my YouTube channel, and
Okay.
I've been doing that for like a couple of years, and it's sort of like I have a bunch of different types of videos on there. Like I've done like meme style videos. I've edited like vlogs and stuff. I've edited short form content. So I've done a lot of that, and
Okay.
then I edit in Premiere Pro.
Okay. So you know Premiere?
software
Awesome. Awesome. What's your YouTube channel, if you don't mind me asking?
Narukami 2D. The name.
Okay, the name.
that's
Perfect.
Yeah.
Narukami 2D. Okay. Okay, dope. You got 500 subscribers. That's awesome. You're like in the top 10% of YouTube channels. Most YouTube channels don't have this many subscribers, so that's great. So you got some. It's kind of like reaction, Twitch style content. Cool, man. Okay, so how can you turn this to revenue? There's quite a few ways. Where are you based out of?
I'm in Texas,
What part of Texas?
Houston.
Houston. Okay, so you're in a major city, so that's good news, right? Because if you were like in Hicksville, Alabama, we'd be like, I don't know how we would get there. But you're in a major city, so here's something that I would think about, and this is a way. This isn't the way. Here's a way. It's gonna work on. It's gonna depend on your network, right? Your network of people who you know, how you meet people. What Zach Sparazzo did, who's my video guy, my full-time video guy now, right, is when we came around, he worked with me for free. This is 2017-ish. 2017-ish, he worked with me for free. And he worked with someone that had an extended network of people that can get some visibility through my platform. And he also went and just look at people he knows in his work as businesses, and go and approach them about becoming clients. So what he would do is he would pull up and he'd say, hey, listen, like, you run a Jamba Juice place, right? But you're not Jamba Juice. Okay, cool, check this out. I'm gonna pull up, I'm gonna give you 9 photos for your Instagram grid. I'm gonna give you a couple of vertical videos for your IG Reels, your stories, and I'm gonna create a package of content for you. I'm just gonna do it for free, because you should be active on social. And he'd pull up and he'd do a free bundle of content. It'd be, let's just call it 2 weeks of content or a week of content. It'd take him a couple hours to shoot it, a couple hours to edit it. This wasn't over the top work, right? And then he would give the assets, let them post it. Sometimes he'd even post it for them. And then a lot of times they'd be like, yo, this is great. What would it cost to hire you?
Okay.
He would then create retainers with these different businesses. So one business, he'd charge him, $1,500 a month for 9 photos and this and this and that. Another business, it might be more. Another business, it might be more. And the beautiful part about retainers is that what I just described for you might take you, 3-4 hours of work maybe, right? But you're getting paid, let's just call it $1,000. If we do the math on that, say 5 hours of work at $1,000, you're making $200 an hour. Them, it's out of their head. They got content for the month, right? And they don't care how long it's taking you to create the content. They just want the content done. They just want the content posted. So Zach, because he was willing to do free work like that, got his name out, and he landed 2 clients, massive client, 3 clients. That one of them was an influencer who was an author, owned a gym, and he basically took on his entire content. They were doing vlog style content. They were doing they kind of evolved into like podcasting, live streaming, right? So Zach would show up with a mobile setup, do his podcast, chop it up in Instagram videos, and very, very well paying content. There's another client that was doing like, I think, online courses and mastermind groups. There's another content that was doing like lights. And Zach looked up and he had a 6-figure business. He was 20 years old, right? He was willing to go out and put himself out there and work and meet people. And so, but it'll start with your network. Is there somebody in your network? Is there somebody at your church? Is there somebody in your friend group? Is there somebody that you know, a friend of a friend that has a business that you could just bless with some content, and then they can circle back and say, okay, well, what would you charge me for this? There's a lot of folks that need to get into the podcast space right now. There's a lot of folks that want to get into the YouTube space right now. If you could be the guy that shows up once a week and shoots a bunch of content for them, and then creates the micro content, and you get, let's just say you get 4 clients at $1,000 a month. That's $48,000 a year, and then you can scale that, and you can scale that as much as you want to scale that. There's some folks that scale that, bro, and they go all the way to having a system where they can outsource the editing overseas. They get home, they dump the footage, someone overseas edits the footage, they wake up, you can get as crazy as you want. There's a lot of wedding photographers do that. So that is a content strategy that I think is a fairly easy strategy. What I would be looking at, I think one of the best ways, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, this is who I'm personally looking for, is if you can go out there and figure out TikTok and figure out YouTube Shorts and just crush TikTok and YouTube Shorts, IG Reels, and blow up a personal TikTok page. Like immerse yourself in TikTok to the point where 6 months from now, 5 months from now, 8 months from now, you have a TikTok with 100,000 followers, right? And then you come to someone like me and you go, hey bro, check this out. I just built my TikTok for, in 6 months to 100,000 followers, and I'm young. I don't really got much to say. I just understand how the algorithm works. I'll take care of your TikTok, Ruslan. I'll come by once a week, and we'll just pump out a bunch of videos. I'll schedule them for you. I'll drop them. I'll do all the captions. You shoot them on your phone. We can shoot them on DSLR, whatever you want. I'll do it all for you. And to me, someone like that right now, if they were local and they have proof of concept, I would probably pay someone like that $1,500 to $2,000 a month to come over once a week and do all that for me right now, right? So you're in Houston, bro. I can think of a bunch of friends I got in Houston that would probably be willing to pay something like this because they understand TikTok's important. They need somebody who understands TikTok to either make the content for them or help them make the content, right? I think short form vertical video is the future. It's not even the future. It's now. It's today. That bundled with podcasting, live streaming, interviews, right? That kind of stuff. And so I would be looking for something within there that you're good at, that you're passionate about, or being curious and say, man, okay, Ruslan challenged me. Let me see if I go build my TikTok up. And if, by the way, here's a couple rules with TikTok. If you already got a TikTok and your first 5 videos flopped, erase it and start all over. Those first 5 videos are important. Start a new TikTok rewards, early accounts, and really immerse yourself and just watch videos for a while. If you can't get your first 5 videos to pop, just start over. Literally, if one of those pops, you'll get rewarded in the algorithm. You get rewarded in the algorithm, your TikTok will grow, and you'll be surprised. How many people out here can build 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 people on TikTok? They don't know how to monetize yet, and then you got a bunch of people like me that brother, I just don't got the capacity to sit here and spend 4 or 5 hours a day on TikTok, hacking away TikTok and making TikTok videos. I can't do that right now. I much rather pay someone to coach me, train me, and do it with me or for me than to sit here and do it. So those are 2 ideas I just threw at you. A third idea is go to a church and do their content. You know what I'm saying? A lot of churches, they know that they blew it getting into the content space with the pandemic. And we missed it. Everything went online. We blew it. And there's probably churches that are still not online, but have budgets to pay somebody to be online. There's a church down the street, the pastor that married us, bro. They have a church with a paid off building, and they just sold the baseball field right next to them. So they have a gang of cash. They're about to renovate the building. They have an older population that gives, and the church is like 100 people. They have money. They don't have people. They have money. They don't have talent. They have good systems, elders, structures, good Bible teaching. They don't have young people. You step into a situation like that and you go, listen, I'm going to take over your live stream. We're going to redo your cameras. Like me and my wife were just talking about it. She was like, yo, they got a new worship leader, but it just sounded so bad because of how they're mixing their sound and how the quality looks. They just put up an iPhone for their live streaming. Literally just put up an iPhone on a Sunday morning. It's a church with money. They just put up an iPhone. They would probably hire someone like you, come in, I'll do all your stuff, and you pop in Sunday, and this was my first good paying job. I was the video guy at my church doing the sermons and the streams. I was making $3,500 an hour. Excuse me, not an hour. Wow, a month. I was making $3,500 a month, which was a lot of money for me at the time. At 28 years old, $3,500 a month. And again, just for inflation, this is 2018. That was a lot of money for me at the time. And so those are 3 ideas that I think if you understand editing, if you understand video, but more importantly, storytelling. I would be curious about storytelling. I'll be curious about marketing. I'll be curious about retention of attention. And if you can figure that out, bro, sky is the limit. Especially you're in Houston, my guy. You're literally in a major city, praise God, there's churches everywhere. There's businesses everywhere. Texas has thrived under this pandemic because they didn't lock down. There's probably coffee shops and all kinds of little small businesses that can help you out. Joshua just said, bro, our church in Humble, Texas, Houston area is needing a communications director right now. Can you shoot to the right people if you're interested? Yeah, man. So reach out to Josh Castro. He's in a chat right now. You have a scarce skill set. If you want to level up, this is now we're going to talk level up. Okay. You asked how to make money. Okay. Let's talk about leveling up. If you want to level up, package it with sales psychology. package it with understanding how to sell and how to do copy. This is why Zach is immensely valuable to me, because Zach didn't want to do 3 clients. He didn't want his attention split between all these people. He wanted just to come work with me. He believes what I'm doing. But Zach understands sales psychology, and he understands funnels, and he understands digital products, and he understands, right? And so because he could do video, and he could crush it on video, and he could do all that and photos and all that stuff's great. But the real win with Zach is that he makes his money. What I pay him, he makes that back and some for me. Right? He makes that back and some, whether it's merch, whether it's a digital product, whatever. And so that's the level up, is like get good at video and then level up by packaging that with sales psychology. And how old are you?
I am 27.
27. So you're 27. Maybe at 27 you don't have your own product, or you don't have your own voice, or you don't know what you're an expert at, right? But you do this for 5 years, and you stack some of these other skills, bro. By the time you're 37. You would literally learn how to do all of this yourself, and then you could take those same exact skills and build your own platform and make it even bigger, or build your own digital products, or build your own merchandising, or build your own consulting service, or build your own marketing agency, right? That's the scale in that. So we're talking about scarce skills. Sales is a skill. It's a very valuable skill. Digital sales and copyright is even a bigger skill. If you can learn those and kind of combine all those, you can come alongside someone, again, like myself. I have an audience. I just struggle in executing my digital products. I struggle in executing my physical products. Zach's been here since January part-time. He just went full-time in August. We have 2 digital courses that passively, just like the way he has the funnel set up, our 2 digital courses passively make half of what I pay Zach monthly. Right? So he's already, 50% of that's already coming in just because he has a fire funnel clicked up for our whole thing, and free training and this whole thing, and then they could buy the course, right? And it's because he understands sales psychology, and he understands the Kartra and how to do all these different things. So I'm giving you some real tangible game, but I think you could pull this apart and find out what is the most linear path for you. I would say lean on your network, lean on building relationships. Don't be afraid to work for free. Don't be afraid to tap in with people that you know are talented. Like I know Bizzle is in Houston. I know my man AJ is in Houston. AJ's blowing up right now. He's been on Sway in the Morning. He works in Houston. AJ runs a venue called Writer's Block. He's in Houston. There's a lot of good things happening in Houston, bro. Houston's booming right now. There's a lot of artists, a lot of talented people there. You can come alongside somebody and help them build out their digital product side, or help them build their physical merchandising or whatever, and like really help somebody level up. You know what I mean?
Okay.
All right, my brother. I gotta go, guys. Thank you so much for calling in, man. I really appreciate you. Feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram or on Patreon if you got a follow-up question. And reach out to Joshua Castro. He's in the H-Town area right now. So we're doing networking right now in real time. You're in Houston. There's somebody watching in Houston. They need some need. You know what I'm saying? And y'all can connect. So I'm gonna let you go, brother. Thank you so much.
Alrighty.
All right, guys. That's some good conversation, man. That's the stuff I'm most passionate about. Like, man, if I find out, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, he's now built out a legitimate, multi-six-figure business. Like, oh my gosh, what a win is that? What a massive win. Not just for him, and not just for me feeling good about it and giving him some advice, but for the kingdom. Like, for the kingdom, that's a win. That's a win because he's going to have more money that's going to bring a degree of stability to his life. He's going to earn more money and be able to give back to churches. He's going to bring more money to be able to help the people that God sends his ways, to be the hands and feet of Jesus, maybe to family that are struggling, maybe to people from his local community, maybe friends from high school. Like, that's a win for the kingdom, man. So anyway, guys, I got to go. I love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. We will do this again. I'll probably be back in the morning, and I'll let you guys go, all right?
Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan. Kingstream Entertainment. Ruslan.
When the culture says do what you love, we respond with love what you do. You may have responsibilities that you aren't passionate about, but loving what you do means being faithful to what's in front of you, committing to excellence as if that were your greatest dream. Colossians 3:23 says, work diligently at whatever you do, as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Love what you do. Love what you do.
Kingstream Entertainment.
Yo, thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. If you found it valuable, considering giving it a like and subscribing. This month, I'm releasing the Love What You Do collection. And to celebrate, I'm doing a 3-day virtual event to help us go from learning to love what we do to ultimately doing what we love. By the way, it's free, so hit the link in the description to grab your seat today.
Joshua the king came down and bore it all. Yeah. Conversations front of the fireplace. All of my mistakes, how do I erase? Wanna operate at a higher pace. Birth pains causing the body to dilate. On a first name basis with the worst pain facing. Moments in isolation. See, I was hoping I would do this to get more family time. A busy mind and worried heart is just not where I reside. I subscribed that all that traveling wasn't doing well for my soul. Glad I never made it when my name went through the rumor mill. I suppose that the Lord knows I'd have failed. Instead, I'm doing well at home, out my shell. Good book off the shelf, more dubs off the L's. I told Ray they ain't just gon' know us, they gon' know us well. Happy to have failed my way to success with my family by my side.